So we better let this fish go now, seeing we've been acclimatising it for a while. The temperature would be perfect in the bag. We'll see how the black belt likes his new home. Now that's a good looking fish.
Yeah, it is. Seems to be all good now.
He's gone to meet his grandmaster there.
Yeah.
Oh, the grandmaster's shaping up to him. Now they're just sizing each other out just so the black belt knows his position. What his job is now that there's an intruder in his territory, his job is to basically assert that he is the boss, which is going to be fairly obvious due to the size difference.
Yeah, the size difference.
And if the more similar the fish are in size, the more likely they'll fight. Whereas if there's a big difference in size, usually they don't have to actually fight because it's sort of obvious who's who.
Yeah.
So now you can see the Splendida is really sizing himself up next to the black belt as well. Because the Splendida, the one following the black belt around, is going to want to make sure that he's higher than the black belt in the hierarchy. But it'll only be a matter of time to find out who actually is the winner. And I couldn't agree more in regards to the martial arts too, because as you know, I've been training with you now for 6 months, and it's just that time out of your week that's sort of for you, for your health, for your mental state, and you go in there and you train really hard. But for me, once I've trained, the rush of, like, you're sore and you're tired, and it's just, you feel proud of yourself, you feel a bit sore. Martial arts is, for me, has been so good for my mental state. And then you've got the best of both worlds. You go and train with your martial arts, then you come home, sit down and relax, watch fish tank.
I'm very lucky and very fortunate. I have a thing in my dojo that I go, no one leaves this place stressed out or unhappy. There's 3 mottos that we believe in. That 1, you enjoy coming in. 2, make sure you're safe and you're not hurting anyone or getting hurt yourself. And number 3, that's important, that you learn something every day. So, and we get our members to take this home or to their school with that as well. Make sure when they go to school they have fun, and make sure that they're safe, they don't get bullied or bully anyone else. I tell my members and students, and the kids especially, I go, when you haven't learned anything at school, you tell the teacher, Miss or Sir, I come here to learn, but today was a waste of day and I need to learn something. So with that in mind, kids need to know that, oh, okay, it's a lifestyle that I have. I want to make sure that I improve every day that I'm living on this earth. And the most important, that we want to change this world. We want to make sure that when we leave this world, it's a better place than what we came to.
When did you start doing martial arts?
Well, it's funny, when I started martial arts, my background's Turkish, and we're one of the first Turkish people to arrive in Australia. And it was in 1970, and I was a young 7-year-old living at Ridvan, going to Burke Street Public School. It wasn't easy those days, and being the only Turkish kid, obviously you're different. And when you're different, kids pick on you. And it wasn't because I was wearing glasses I was overweight, but I wasn't one of the kids. So I had to do something to defend myself. There wasn't a day that I wasn't getting bullied. I was getting picked on, calling names, turkey, 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 gobble, gobble, gobble. Well, I was just had enough. So at the age of 7, I said, I got to do something. And Ridvan Police Boys Club was very close. So I went and did some boxing there for a few years. And then we moved on to Newtown area. I lived there for a few years. And then I went to Newtown Police Boys Club doing judo. And in 1975, I went and watched a Bruce Lee movie, and I was impressed with his kicks. And I said, wow, I can do that, and that's what I want to do. I said, I love to kick. So I was 12 at the time, and I said, I want to do Taekwondo. So first I wanted to do Kung Fu, because that's what Bruce Lee did. And we looked for Kung Fu school. There was one in the city, and when I inquired, it was 30. I never forget the figure. It was $38 a month, and that's, my mum was getting paid $38 a week, and we couldn't afford that. So I went and looked for other martial arts clubs, and I didn't know what Taekwondo was, but my friends were talking about Taekwondo, where you do a lot of kicking. So in 1975, I went to the city and joined up at this Taekwondo club, because they were charging $18 a month. which we can afford at the time because we just come to the country, not much happening. And from then on, that was 1975, starting up and just carried on and still doing it now. And I love it. I love the fact that we can kick. Well, first it was all about defending myself. It was all about making sure that I don't get picked on. And it helped me. Boxing, judo and taekwondo helped me so much. And I wanted to compete with it as well. So I did some competitions. I was doing really well. I got my black belt when I was around 15 and then second dan 17. And at the age of 18, my instructor wanted me to open up a club. And I said, I'm too young, I don't want to teach because teaching is not an easy thing to do. But he says, look, I would love you to teach. And I said, okay, I'll try. And he found me this place that I'm in now, 35 years on, I'm still in the same place. So it's on Addison Road, 1982, February 4. That was my first class with 67 new members. Some of them were my class friends who we used to go to school with. And yeah, still going.
And do you have any stories about needing to use Taekwondo in real life?
Look, I did obviously in my early days, going out at the age of 18, 19, you go out to nightclubs and I did need, but I looked confident. A lot of the time because I was confident, because I was a black belt, and those days it was very difficult to get a black belt. You know, it's like you had to be a Superman to get a black belt. And it was very rare to get a black belt. There were occasions where I told the people, look, I'm a black belt, stop. But they stopped, they didn't pick on me, but there were a few people that said, no, who cares, you're a black belt. And I did use my skills on them, but not to the extent where they had to go into hospital. But it is dangerous sport, but it's amazing. It built my confidence so much that I knew if I stuck to this martial arts, it will change my lifestyle. There were occasions where when I opened my school, there were other school owners who used to come and challenge you. And because of my boxing background, judo background, and kicking skills, because I'm pretty flexible, you know, doing splits on chairs and amazing kicks. Yeah, I was called Mr. Splits at the time. So I was quite good at what I was doing, and I managed to hang on for 35 years and still there. But what changed my life was about martial arts was when I got married and had my first child, which was Hakan. I said, whoa, this is not about martial arts, not about hurting people, it's about, you know, changing people's lives. And I said, okay, we're teaching kids. From what I learned from my instructors was that if someone looks at you, you beat them up. You know, if they want, you have them on. And I changed the aspect that no, if someone wants to have a go, you talk your way out of it, because fighting physical activity is the last thing you should be doing. It's the last resort. Hurting someone is the last resort. You talk your way out of it. Especially, I've noticed myself too, when I looked confident and when I stood up for myself, a lot of the time they'll back off. It's when you look scared, when you have that fear in you that you're going to get hurt, is when you actually get hurt. But if you're confident that, oh, I can handle myself, and you tell them, relax, I'm a martial artist, I'm a black belt, I don't like what you're doing to me. How would you like it if I did it back to you? And then so that makes him think. And I didn't have to use it much. I use my skills in the ring, in the tournament. Outside of that, you know, your friends and your sports person.
So what are some of your tournament achievements?
Oh, I've won 7 times New South Wales Championship, 3-time Nationals, and I won gold medal in the World Martial Arts Games as well. So they had the World Martial Arts Games, and I did really well in that one, winning gold medal.
And what's your proudest moment?
Well, obviously for any father, the most proudest moment is your first child. When my kids were born and my son was born, and him starting competing at the age of 4.5, him winning, they had the International World Championships in America, and he was 6 at the time. He won gold medal there, came first. So when we came back, all the newspapers were on to him, the radio stations were all interviewing him. You know, a 6-year-old kid winning these titles. That was an awesome achievement, and I do have so much, you know, winning so many titles myself, my members, my students, and changing people's lives. I get a lot of parents come up to me and say, Marcy, you've helped us so much, or kids coming up to me saying, I got bullied today, but I've defended myself, I stuck up for myself. You know, I hear a lot of stories. It's just an amazing feeling about being able to change people's lives. And I recommend for parents to take their kids to martial arts because it disciplines them, teaches them respect, it teaches them to be confident, they don't get bullied, especially when they start at the very young age, like the 3, the 4, the 5.
My kids.
Yeah, like your kids. My kids started at the age of very young, so they always had the edge over every other kid that was out at school or any other sport that they do, because that's what martial arts is all about, making sure that, you know, that you are caring, you're respecting. Like the respect is dying.